Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Dr. Fantastic Interviews. I've got on the line Lucky, who is one lucky son of a bitch. He's traveled around, done some fantastic things in his life, and we just were talking about commune living, and he was telling me about a place called The Farm in Tennessee, because that's one of the places I might be visiting. Lucky, tell me about your experience with The Farm, how it started and how it ended.
It was a creation from the 60s. Steve Gaskin was the man's name, and he organized, something like 600 buses. They all painted up, and they took off across the country looking for a home. And they were hippies in those days. People kind of looked down on hippies, the rednecks, but there were so many of them, they couldn't really hassle with them. So when they pull into town, they'd have right across we're coming for your daughters. And I mean, they really antagonized people, but they were a fun bunch. And they ended up in Tennessee. I think they bought about 1,800 acres of land there. And they moved all the buses on. Everybody was living in their buses, and they created this fantastic community of family-oriented. His wife was a midwifer. So she encouraged everyone to get pregnant, and she still to this day, I understand, teaches midwifing techniques to people that are interested. But I understand there was about 600 kids born on this farm, and when I was there, I went to one of their dinners, and my gosh, they had first and second generation people there, and I guess, and they have their own print shops and markets and health food store, and they just pretty much self-contained. The thing that was interesting, they had huge hay fields, and they weren't really using the hay fields, but they have gardens, and they're very, very ambitious, industrious people. What I noticed was, though, is most people leave in the summertime because the insects are so intrusive on the human body. And I spent a couple days there and met a lot of nice people, and it's a wonderful place to visit. Don't think I'd want to live there, but it was really great. I actually went to, I was on a commune tour, and I went to 18 states, and I visited about 7 different communes, or where people live together on the land. I went to, in Virginia, they have the largest community commune in existence in the United States right now. It's a true commune, and I forget how many people there. There were quite a few hundred. They make hammocks and soy milk, and they're fairly self-sustained in Virginia. A very nice little farm.
Do you know the name of that one?
I don't. I'd have to do some research. Another interesting place I saw was in Taos, New Mexico. They do the earth ships, and that was really interesting. There, you can buy. They were selling property really cheap. You could buy a lot in there for a few $1,000s, and they build these homes out of various products like hay or straw. They build them out of adobe. Some guys had them built out of tires, which they later learned were toxic and didn't work very well. But they build these very strange-looking shaped houses, and because water is so precious, they catch it on their roofs. They're all kept, and then it goes into a cistern. And then from the cistern, it goes into the house, and they use it in the kitchen. They use it for their plants, and they use it 3 different times before it goes onto the plants. And each house gathers about 3,000 gallons a year, and they manage to sustain themselves on that. They also had another outside of Taos, up at around, I forget how many thousands of feet. It was way up there in the snow country. They had another commune. She needed a 4-wheel drive to get up there, and I didn't have one, so I didn't go up there. But I thought one of the more interesting places I went to was in South Carolina. I visited a 20-acre farm, and each person had 5 acres, and each person had his own private 5 acres. They all lived together, and they, as a community, but they had their own lives, and everybody built their own homes out of natural products from the land, either wood. One fellow had built it out of straw, and unfortunately, they found out that they had adobe the straw, adobe over the amount of years, they'd end up with a wall of a building. The spa would all be gone. So they didn't do that to be very good. They had a hot tub there, and it was all fired by wood. It was an interesting place. I liked it because it wasn't so crowded. When you go to these big communes like Virginia, they have everybody's assigned a job in the daytime, and so you'll have groups of 5 people, and they might have. My first day there, we peeled garlic, and then everybody gets together, and they'll have so many people, and they'll prepare lunch, and they put it out in these big trays, and everybody comes in and sits down and eats lunch together, and they live in these huge dorms. Everybody has a room. They might share one with a partner. And it was very interesting because it was sex positive, so they had some sexy stuff going on there too, which was fun.
Lots of sex, it sounds like.
What's that?
Well, how do you join a commune tour? This sounds interesting. It's perfect for something like what I'm doing on my tour, you know.
I got the book. Gosh, I can't remember the name of the book now. There's a book on communes, and they have them. They list all the communes in the entire United States. They're all over. And they give you directions on how to get there and how to call them. I being the kind of a person that's kind of impulsive, so I would just drive in.
Yeah.
And without pre-noticing them and say, hi, here I am, and what's going on here? And it was kind of fun to just meet that way. And a lot of times they say, well, we're not really used to having people just drive in. We like to but you seem nice. We'll show you around it. I said, well, what does it take to live here? And he said, well, you see that mountain bike of yours on the back of your truck? And I go, yeah. He says, well, you put that in the bike pool. And whenever you need a bike, you'd come to the bike pool, and you might be in charge of the bike pool, and you'd check out a bike, and you could ride that bike. And I looked at their bikes, and they weren't that good of bikes. And then I said, well, what about my truck? And he says, well, you'd check that into the car pool. And if you needed a car, you'd come down and check out a car. And they were paying their workers $2 an hour, and they got room and board. And they everybody learned how to tie hammocks. That fancy rope tie knots that they do to make the hammocks, and that was their big money maker. And they take care of their people for life. Once you go in there, you give everything you have to the community. Your truck, your car, your motorcycle, whatever it is you have, you give it to the community, and then you become a part to there. And they were having a real problem because they weren't attracting any young people, and they were running out of the older people were costing the commune more and more money to take care of them because they were getting older and unhealthier. So I don't know. I haven't never been back, but they were really trying to attract young people.
Well, it sounds like the perfect place where I'd stop in and give a speech, you know, because I like giving my speeches to groups.
Oh, they would love that. Yeah, they would love that.
No question. Yeah, so thank you for that. I learned something today. You know, I've been around the world a few times and done a lot of different things, and I'm so curious about life, and I just want to learn more every day, you know. And I tell people, especially the young people, the more you know, the easier your life is, and the more valuable you are to others.
Yeah, I agree. The more you can talk to people and educate them and have fun with them, it just makes life more fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we're only here a short time. A very, very short time.
Yeah. Unless you're doing something you don't like doing, and then it seems like forever, doesn't it?
Well, I would my estimate is 80% of people are just existing. They crawl out of bed to go to work so they can make money to survive, and they're just existing. My secret to happiness is when you can jump out of bed in the morning, looking forward to your day. You're going to have fun because you're obviously doing something you like, and when you do something you like and you're having fun, you do it well. And when you do it well, you'll make money at it. But the money is the icing on the cake. It's not something that should be driving you to be happy, you know. And we all know money does not buy happiness. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm watching my trimmers, and I have 5 to 6 trimmers a day coming here, and they're $21 an hour. And I have a service that brings them here, and I just feel sorry for these people. They sit in this little barn that we have, and they trim hemp for 10 hours a day, and they drive an hour to get here and an hour to go home. So there's 12 hours a day they're spending. And then, of course, the agency takes $5, so they're only getting about $16 an hour after their taxes and paid. So to me, it's almost like slave labor, right?
Yeah. How many trimmers do you have?
5 to 6 a day.
And what are they trimming? I mean, I know when it comes to pot, you need to trim it because you want a more concentrated buds. But I thought hemp was just a weed and you let it grow. And
no, there's various stages of the hemp. What we do is we take the tops off and we dry the top, and then you'd have to trim them. So we run them through a trimmer, and that knocks off the main leaves, and then they go to the hand trimmers, and they hand trim it down to a real nice tight bud like you see in the marijuana industry, and then those are sold as hemp flour, and they're selling right now for $250 a pound. We started out at $150 a pound, and it's continuously gone up. And what's happening is the pot market is really tight right now, and it's very expensive. So people are wanting to smoke. So what they're doing is these entrepreneurial guys are buying this flower from us, and they spray it with hemp, with THC, and infuse it into the hemp. And it's like half the price of pot. They call them moon rocks, and this is what the market is right now. It's pretty much, and it's half the price, so people really like it and get you really stoned. So
wow, moon rocks.
Damn, moon rock, big industry.
So, I mean, I guess the oils would be the same type of thing. They could, with using the hemp and pot, they could make an oil out of it or something.
Well, that's what we do with the leaf. We just take the flower, then we strip the plant of all of its biomass, and we dry that in the field on black plastic, and we cover it every night. 3 days later, it's dry, and it goes into the super sacks, and then we process that into this oil that we make. It's called CBD oil, and that oil becomes either crude, distillate, or isolate, and we can go to either any of those levels of the oil, whatever seems to be the best for the market. Crude is easiest to make, distillate's the next easiest, and then isolate's turns out to be a white powder. And right now, the problem with the market for me right now is just the only market that's selling in biomass is you have to be tea-free, which means it's non-detectable, or you can't sell it into the world market. So it's hampered us until I can raise about $250,000 and get a machine to take the tea out of the oil. I'm sitting on a lot of oil.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because I have lots of investors that I put deals together on. Do you have a business plan for that?
Well, we have 2 farms. We've got 300 acres, but my partner and I were contiguous. We could raise 100 acres of hemp if we wanted. We have the water and the fields to do it. We're only doing 7 acres. So there's a lot of potential here to grow, and this is our 2nd year now. So last year we spent all of our money buying $100,000 tractors and putting up greenhouses and a lot of infrastructure, which we now have this year, and it's become much better. This year we're also growing CBG, which is the next generation of CBD. And it supposedly, and we're still checking this out, grows without THC. So this might be a really easier market to crack with this CBG. So we're raising that this year, and some CBD as well.
Well, this makes sense for me to come up and film you and make a little video on it, on the whole process. It sounds very interesting.
Yeah, maybe you could raise some money. We need this chromatography so that we can clean our oil. And I'll tell you,
you're breaking up a little bit there. Are you moving around?
I'm sorry, my phone fell. Yeah, we could be great if we could find an investor that wants to go into the chromatography, which would be cleaning the oil of its products.
What do you call it? Chromatology?
Chromatography. photography.
Okay, explain that.
And it takes out all the THC. Well, it separates the hemp into various compounds, cannabinoids, I guess is a better word for it.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I think there's I can't even remember how many cannabinoids there are. There's CBG, CBD, CBN, and then a whole list of, I can't even remember of this. It's an amazing plant. I don't think there's another plant on the planet that can do what this stuff does. I mean, there's hardly anything that you can make or see that you can't use it for.
I've seen rebar, stronger than rebar and lighter, made out of hemp. I've seen wood that's obviously fireproof, that's stronger and lighter, and it's an amazing product. It's just amazing.
It really is. There's like 25,000 industrial uses for hemp.
25,000, huh? Wow.
It's a big deal, yeah. So that's what we're into, but we're just now setting up the oil machine, and we're putting our plants in the ground tomorrow. This next week will be all planting, and then it takes about 3 months for it to mature.
Right. Well, during my travels, I definitely have to get up there and film you, and in the meantime, I'll maybe talk to a couple investor types. If you have a one-page summary, it would be great to send it to me.
I would certainly put one together for you.
Yeah, because it's definitely, I may have something for you there. And,
okay.
Definitely worth doing a little, not so much a documentary, but just one of my pieces. Because my 3,000 videos on YouTube, CBD and pot always seem to be a big hit. I did one called Hempful Farms Comes to Chico. I met the guys that opened it up on the opening day, and I just did a little fun one because I met them on the plane, and that got lots of views on it. My most successful video so far is when COVID started. I got 25,000 views on one of my videos. That was pretty cool.
That is a lot.
Yeah, I thought so. But my YouTube show is a little different, or a lot different from all the others, because if you want to make money on YouTube, you do the same thing at the same time all the time, and I can't do that. So my thing is one day I'll do a video on, or talk to a billionaire, and then a homeless person, and then, I mean, it's just all across the board, because everyone, to me, is fantastic, and they all have a fantastic story, So
yes.
So
yes,
it's not
very good,
it's
very well, very fantastic.
And if I had big tits, and I show my boobs all the time, then I'd be a multimillionaire, because that's what people care about. They care about big tits more than they care about making the world a better place, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
So are you financially secure?
Yeah, I mean, life is good. I'm putting together. I'm always a deal maker.
You don't use that word anymore.
I know. I get caught. Everyone, shoot me, please. No, life is fantastic. I'm always putting deals together, and that's why I've always been like a deal maker. But right now, I don't have any money worries. But I never worried about money ever anyway. I never even balanced
the
a checkbook.
reason I asked is you said you didn't want to spend $100 a night, so I was thinking perhaps you were on a budget.
Well, I'm at this last hostel I was at. It was less than that, obviously, and the guy had $1 million in the bank. Literally, he was a Marine and got a couple businesses. And he says, "It's not how much you make; it's how much you keep." And $100. That's what I was paying. I was paying $6,000 when I had my yacht in the marina a month. That's $200 a night. But you got a big yacht with insurance and what have you. But
Yep.
no, I mean, if I don't want to spend $100 a night every night just for a hotel room. I'd rather stay with friends.
I'm surprised you don't have a motorhome or something, or a van.
That's probably what I'm going to get next is a big motor coach, a big one.
Don't get a big one. I did that. And they're too hard to park, they're too hard to get around in, and they break just as easy as the little ones, and they're very hard to get fixed. Only a few people will work on them. You can't take them. If you I bought a brand new Ford motorhome with a Winnebago body on it, And if the engine went bad, you couldn't take it to the Winnebago dealer. You had to take it to a Ford agency, and there was only one in Southern California that would work on a motorhome. It was a pain in the ass.
Okay.
And I had a slide out. Those slide outs, boy, I'm going to tell you something. When they break, they're expensive, and the gears go out on them, and the crap. I just got so sick of it, I got rid of it. And the guy told me when I bought it, he said, don't buy this. It was only 26 feet. He said, it's too big. He said, don't get anything bigger than you can park in a parking space. And you don't need a pop out. You just need a nice, with these new Mercedes, or you've probably seen them, the Mercedes.
The Spinners, yeah.
Spinners.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you need. Those will go anywhere. They're fast, and they don't break, and they're just, I don't know, I'm just sold on them. I'd love to have one, but they're $100,000 for a new one.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was thinking of the Sprinter, and the Sprinter has the slide outs too.
I didn't know that. That's new to me.
Yeah, amazing. It's amazing. Well, if you're into boats like you are, you know that what they can do with 1 foot in a boat, and they're doing that with these vehicles now. They're land yachts, is what they are, you know.
Yeah, they really are. Now, my dad was really into them. He had a 49,000 foot, the biggest you could have, the fastest and everything. And gosh, it was just, the only place he could park it was in campgrounds. You had to pay, and they come in late at night, and they're hard to park. And then he towed a boat behind it, and that was even another hassle.
Yeah.
And I learned the hard way, don't get a big one.
Yeah, well, I was thinking just washing the fuckers is going to be ridiculous. But I did know that you can spend nights at all the big stores, like the Walmarts. If you talk to the manager and say you're traveling, and they're usually pretty cool. And I was going to trade motivational speaking to the company in exchange for the night, which is what I want to do anyway. I want to tell the employees to stop telling everyone to have a good day after they're done with their sale. Have a fantastic day, for Christ's sakes,
Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah.
So you're right. I'm going to get a little guy, and
because you don't want to stay in it all the time anyway. You're going to want to. What's more fun than anything is to take them to I always love staying in hostels because you meet so many people.
I love hostels. I can't find any.
Really? Well, they got them in Santa Monica, quite a few.
Yeah, in Santa Monica. Well, I was at Pacific Beach, and I swear to you, I was right on the beach. It's $25 a night, and I did a lot of interviews there. This was a couple weeks ago, and it was every night they were around the campfire. Nobody was wearing masks. Everyone was just full of life, and I get some great interviews, and it was fantastic. So I've been looking for more hostels, but I just can't seem to find any yet. But I'm going to look for communes now.
Yeah, they're not around a lot. You're right.
But I'm going to look for communes. There's a whole sector of communes out there. I'm going to stop in because then I'm going to tell them I'm coming, and I'd love to do a speech and introduce the movement, and they'll probably love it.
There's one called Heartwood. You might want to check it out. That's a really fun commune. It's out in the boondocks, and a lot of good people. There's some great communes in California.
Well, I'm going to look them up after I hang up. Well, everybody, I think you enjoyed learning a little bit about the CBD, about communes, about things like that with Lucky. Lucky, thank you for your time. We just did 23 minutes, and that was a fantastic podcast. Everyone, be fantastic, be kind, stay in hostels, stay in communes, get away from the city, go camping. Everyone, be fantastic. Thanks for listening.